We need to include our hearing allies. And what I mean by that is that there are hearing people in our community who are supportive of us, who do not want to interfere with our lives. We only want so much interference that it's seen as support. During the decolonization process in Africa, for example, we can compare our activities with we have an issue about how to resolve our concerns, and we need to have more forums to share information. And we don't have a magic wand, and we're not going to be struck by lightning or be visited by doves from above. You know, the solution is not going to appear by magic or by gift. It will. One thing is sad, that, you know, deaf studies is often pushed aside. Minority studies are very significant. And if they've been oppressed, they become even more important. The majority sees that kind of work as a threat. But we need to we now have deaf studies in the university, but we should be teaching children from the ages of 5 to 11 the information that we're now giving them in the universities. It's a really fascinating topic, and they should be able to be discussed. Now, I visited a deaf school recently where several of the children, had deaf parents. And many of the deaf parents did not express an interest in deaf studies. And the reason for that, they said, is because they're already deaf. We know everything we need to know about deafness, and so do our children, because they're growing up with us. But Americans, by being born in America, don't know everything there is to know about American history. That's part of the colonization mindset, you know, that their history and their heritage is not important. So okay, yeah. So some people who are born and raised, some people say that mainstreaming and cochlear implants on the rise mean that deaf studies are no longer important. I would posit the opposite. I think that the balance is even further out of balance, and we're at the risk of losing all of the information. I'm really almost at the end here. Back to the big picture, and the blue ribbon and the blue candle. It leads me back to the issue of spirituality. With genetic engineering, in my BSL sign is this for genetic, we need to face philosophical issues. So can genetic engineering eliminate deafness? And why should we permit further generations of deaf children to be born? That's something that needs to be discussed. In my opinion, I believe we all need to be here. We have many gifts to give to the world. Do you think that it's legally permissible to wipe out 250 of the languages of the world? And some of these questions pose us big challenges. And is our existence here a biological mistake? Are we a mistake? I'm sorry, I don't believe that. That's just my opinion, but I believe that we were blessed with deaf studies here and now needs to begin, and we need to be ready for this. We need to take the challenge. We need to take the time to think and discuss and see where we're hoping our youth leads us in the future. So we need to take time to think before we begin our struggles so that we begin wisely. This is the time to begin. If we put off this challenge, we risk a danger that we will do nothing and that genetic engineering will take over. Now, in one way, that's negative, and in another way, that's positive. We are finally taking the opportunity to look and see who we are. And perhaps we can reclaim the time of the French philosophers and the French deaf orators who were meeting and discussing and sharing pride in their community. This image was produced by a deaf artist. And if you see the hand touching the ear of the central figure, well, this was produced in Russia, and this artist is still living. I believe this is his name sign. And when I saw this image, it made me weep. Because this is the hand of God touching the ear of a deaf person. And the inspiration flows through the body of the deaf person and emerges out his hand and out of his whole being. And this helps us to think about our old problems in a new light and gain new confidence that we can solve our challenges. So thank you very much.